This is John Henry Weston for LifeSite News, bringing you breaking news from the Catholic Church all over the world as bishops conferences, and Catholics themselves react to the news from the Vatican about the blessing of homosexual couples. Most startling, actually, is the reaction out of Austria. Please go to lifesitenews.com and check out the work of our Austrian correspondent, Andreas Welzer, who gives us this from Austria. It's really stunning. Listen to this. This is the head of the Austrian Bishops' Conference, Archbishop Franz Lachner, who has said that priests can no longer say to a request for blessing of a homosexual couple, they can no longer say no. So, absolutely stunning. It comes from the release on the 18th of December of the declaration called Fiducia Supplicans, and the Archbishop in Austria is expressing his great joy over the publication that allows for the blessing of homosexual couples. I'll give you direct quotes from him. He said, "I believe that the Church recognizes that a relationship between two people of the same sex is not entirely without truth. There is love, there's fidelity, there is also hardship and shared and lived in faithfulness. This should also be acknowledged," he said. And that was in an interview with Austrian public TV station ORF. Now, he was asked in the interview, that's the Archbishop was asked, if priests would be obliged to bless same-sex couples, and the Archbishop responded that in sacramental and religious life it's always difficult to speak of a must. However, he added, basically, you can no longer say no. And just like when we broke the news the other day, we explained how dangerous this is for priests, because in places like Europe, in Canada, where there is already hate crime legislation, just like during COVID, where thousands of Catholics were denied exemptions from the abortion-tainted vaccines because they pointed to authorities, pointed to Pope Francis and said, he said you must, and therefore no Catholics got exemptions. Right now, with the Vatican, the Pope himself having opened up this possibility of blessing homosexual couples, it puts all priests in jeopardy themselves. Not only in Austria, though, similar reaction from Germany, where we know the bishops already voted long time ago without sanction from Pope Francis. Their vote was 38-8 in favor of blessing of homosexual couples, homosexual unions. And that has been going on in Germany, by the way, already. Before this new declaration, it's already been going on. It's been going on in Europe through Australia, Belgium, Germany, etc. Now, the German bishop's reaction was, as I guess you could expect, great joy and how wonderful this is. The head of the German Bishops' Conference, again, a report by Austrian LifeSite correspondent Andreas Welzer. Please go check it out at lifesitenews.com. This is the reaction from the head of the German Bishops' Conference, Bishop Georg Betzig, who has said he welcomed the declaration on the Vatican on the blessings of homosexual unions, praised the decision to broaden the definition of blessings to include the diversity of lifestyles. The declaration was praised also by other German bishops for respecting people's life choices and promoting pastoral care for queer people. I very much welcome this document and am grateful for the pastoral perspective it takes, said the statement from Betzig, that's the head of the German Bishops' Conference. Now get this, one of the German bishops, the Archbishop of Hamburg, Stefan Hesse, welcomed the declaration, and he said, it is an expression of respect for the reality of life and the life choices of people who want to be there for each other, and it gives us the opportunity to bless without demanding anything. He actually called it, this is Archbishop Hesse from Hamburg, also called it a real Christmas present for him. There's another bishop in Germany, Bishop Heinrich Timmerwers of Dresden, who expressed his delight at the Vatican Declaration. He said he sees the text as encouragement to continue promoting pastoral care for queer people in the spirit of Pope Francis. So those are the reactions from the bishops on the left. Now, you had right away, as we noted earlier in our coverage, Father James Martin recognizing this as a monumental step, saying that he would now indeed go ahead and give homosexual couples blessings. Interestingly, Father James Martin warned Watch out for those who will say, oh, it's nothing new here. And you know what's stunning? If you look at the reaction from the USA bishops that I've seen so far, we've looked at about a dozen of them, and the Bishops' Conference, they're almost saying exactly that. Nothing to see here, please go on, nothing's different, nothing's changed. Wow, unbelievable. A lot of people parroting, what they see from their bishops in America are saying, nothing's changed, nothing's different. It's all about blessing individuals. You can give any individual blessing. Read the document. Have you read the document before you start making these claims, these false claims? If you read the document speaks specifically about, let me quote it for you, the possibility of blessing couples in irregular situation and same-sex couples. Couples. We're talking about blessing couples. So, I was just talking with my cameraman Miles here about a situation that would maybe make it clearer for people. So, these are sexual relations that are totally outside of God's plan and totally sinful. And yet you can go forward as a couple in this illicit sexual relation and get a blessing from a priest. So let's say, for instance, that I was having an affair with a woman, not my wife, but I would go forward to the priest with the woman with whom I was having an affair and ask for a blessing, and that would be fine. This makes absolutely no sense, and yet we have, in the face of that, many bishops publicly saying, nothing to see here, everything is fine. Read the document and be honest. You know what? Catholics are not children. You don't have to shield their eyes. No. Please acknowledge that there's a grave crisis going on. Please don't treat us like senseless babies. Let's go on to some of the other reactions from different people. You have bishops who have spoken out saying, yep, absolutely, it's a crisis. Right away, Bishop Strickland called me and told me he'd like to give a reaction, which he did, calling on his brother bishops to just say no, saying, in fact, on this issue, perhaps we should call a council. Councils have been called in the church on lesser things than getting clarity on this, of something of this gravity. You also had a statement from Father Gerald Murray. Father Murray is very well known for he is on the papal posse on EWTN all the time. Listen to his comments. He gets the gravity. He called this absurd and horrific. Take a listen.
Now the church is saying that your behavior is gravely sinful, offensive to God, but the church should bless you. And what does a blessing mean? It means that we ask God to favor you in that relationship. This is absurd. This is a horrific document. It is revolutionary. All kinds of distinctions are made saying, well, this isn't blessing in view of it being recognized as a marriage. Fine. That's what the church says, but you know exactly what's going to happen. The document even says people who seek the blessing shouldn't get dressed up in wedding garments, wedding glad attire, and come, the same day as they have their civil ceremony. Well, people are going to do what they want, and this is really very upsetting. This is not how the Catholic Church has ever conducted himself, and I'm very upset by what the Pope has done.
If you go over to LifeSite News, you will also see a reprint from the Catholic thing about the reaction from Father Thomas Weinandy, great theologian, was the theologian for the U.S. Conference of Bishops, calling out this absolute horror. And isn't it funny that you're having this reaction from those on the far left? You're having from Germany, from Austria, from Father James Martin, clarity. What is this? This is something that they think is wonderful, and they're calling it out. And on the right, you have faithful bishops like Bishop Strickland. You have Father Gerald Murray, Father Thomas Weinandy, calling it out for what it is as well. I want you to take a look at a clip from someone who's not even a Catholic. There is a pastor in Canada by the name of Henry Hildebrandt. He's with the Church of God. They're sort of like Mennonites in a way. They're from Aylmer, Ontario. And during COVID, he opened his church. He refused to shut his church down because he was so convinced of the love of Christ and would never want to deprive people of church activities. So he kept it open. He was fined nearly $300,000 for doing that. He's been outspoken on the issues of life and family. I want you to listen to his take. This is coming from a Protestant pastor. This is coming from someone who is not a Catholic, but it's some of the most encouraging words. for Catholics you'll ever hear. Listen to this.
Now, after the announcement that the Pope made, we would ask ourselves, and maybe our Protestant friends would say, that's why we don't believe in the seat of authority. Let me tell you something. The problem lies not in the seat. The seat is not the problem. We need the seat of authority in the church. We need the seat of authority in the family. We need the seat of authority in school. We need the seat of authority at work. We don't believe in defunding the police. The police need authority. So what is the problem then? The problem is who is in the seat, not the seat. The seat is not the issue. The issue is who is in the seat. If you throw out the seat with the one that's in the seat, then what we have is, like we read in the last chapter of Judges, every man did that which was right in his own eyes. That's when we will see that the Pope and the people that threw out the seat with the one that was in the seat, that's when they will justify the exact same thing, homosexuality. That's what happens. We read in Proverbs 29, verse 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
So I wanted to save the best for last. All of you know that I just got back from Africa. Our Africa team has been working diligently to get statements from bishops in Africa on this subject. And just now, we have the statement from the bishops of Malawi. And here's its conclusion. Listen to this. You'll go to lifesitenews.com for the coverage. Here it is. To avoid creating confusion among the faithful, we direct, that's all the bishops signed from Malawi, we direct that for pastoral reasons, blessings of any kind and for same-sex unions of any kind are not permitted in Malawi. End of story. So for lifesitenews.com, this is John Henry Weston. God bless you. And go to LifeSite News for all the late breaking news.